Okay, so we're going to build a spaceship image like this, and it looks like a lot here, but it's almost entirely composited from other photographs. The background is built out of just different photographs kind of put together. Um, the spaceship is made out of pieces of airplanes and photographs and stuff like that. And there, you have to do some rendering to bring out the forms, but it's not as complicated as it seems. And even like all these windows and stuff here are just pictures of office buildings at night. And so you can do some cool stuff here. So we'll start out just making this background first. If you look at my layers area, you can see that I have it everything grouped into the little fighters and the ship itself, and each one of these is quite a few layers in there. Well, look at all that just in the spaceship. Good heavens! But let's start on that. So let's say File New, and let's create a document that's 2350 by 1000. 2350 by 1000. I have that there. 72 RGB white. Create. Okay, and then actually, I think that I'm kind of following this handout I used to give in the class because I did the same project last year, and I decided that it should be a little bit bigger there now. So let's make this bigger. Image size, and let's size it up to, if this little padlock here is locked like that, we only need to change one, the other one will change proportion. Let's make it 3400. I think that resolution will be bigger. Some of the file might be hanging off the screen now, so just double click on your hand tool to make sure it's all fitting in there. All right. So let's make the purplish sky, or just like a background color, okay, and darker on the right, okay, because this image here, I would set up the background kind of the same way I have. I'll supply you guys with a bunch of files that you can use, but and everybody's spaceship should look unique, or different shape kind of, but the background, I'm cool if they're kind of the same. If you think of a different way to do it, but you might want to just right now follow along and make it just like this one. All right, so I'm going to fill it with this. I have these two. We want to make it sort of purplish, right? This purplish background. Okay. Let me go here. Oops. All right, that's my background color on the original. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'll just go edit fill and fill it with, I just picked these colors here. I did, oops, I did this before. I just picked a couple of purplish colors. Okay, and to get a huge soft brush, turn the opacity down somewhat. Maybe zoom out a little bit so it's easier. And make sure I'm painting with the foreground color. Get this guy a little darker down here. Okay, I'm actually not even using a tablet at the moment. I'm just using my mouse. All right, whatever. Okay, and now just comparing it to how I did it before, maybe a little bit more. Looks like I have a little more blue in there too. This is going to be pretty covered up anyway. I'm just sometimes I get kind of. All right. Anyway, let's say that's cool. All right. Let's see, what are we doing next here? Let's put a scene on top now. And so we'll go File, Open, And I will give you guys, I think, all these images here. The one I used was Cloud Storm, but anyone that has kind of distant mountains like that would work. Okay, so I'm just pulling that off, and I'm just going to take my move tool and just drag it right on there. Okay, and then I can close this. All right, and let's use we want it to kind of like blend into the background. Actually, let's make it bigger first. So Control T is our shortcut to edit free transform. And if you used Photoshop before, I think last year, to constrain the proportions of an image, because generally when we size something, we don't want to stretch it, right? We want it to scale it proportionally. You had to hold down Shift down. You had to hold Shift down while you scale it. So now, after 28 years or whatever of Photoshop, they changed it because everybody had to hold Shift down, because most of the time you want to scale proportionally. So now if you hold Shift down, it scales it unproportionately. Okay. So if I just drag on the corner, see the picture stays the same. And if I hold down Shift, it stretches it. Okay. Here's the no, here's the yes up top here. I'm saying no because I don't want to stretch it. So Control T, but one thing I do usually do when I scale something is hold down Alt, because if I don't hold down Alt, it goes like this. So I got to go here, then I got to go here, okay? But if I hold down Alt, it scales out from the middle, which is usually more what I'm looking for, okay? And I might have to zoom out a little bit to get a hold of the handles there and make it, because I want it to be, something like that, I guess. All right, so I'm going to make the blending mode. I think I suggested soft light or overlay. Let's see how those look. Let me make this bigger again. So I'm down here in the layer palette where it says normal. I'm clicking on that. And let's see, here's soft light. Here's hard light. Soft light and overlay. Okay, soft light is a little more muted looking. And mostly what's going to show here is the distant background, the mountains and the clouds. I think I'm going to go with soft light, but either one would work depending on your mood. I'm in sort of a foggy purple mood. All right, let's cover the grass. All right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. We'll cover the grass with a thing that we'll use as a clipping mask, and then fill it with some other thing. Because this grass in the foreground, I don't know. We want it to be a little bit more alien or something. So make a new layer, and let's see. I'm going to use a color like the mountains. Okay, so I'm in my paintbrush, and if I hold down Alt, right, I can pick the mountain color. Right, Alt gives me the eyedropper. See if I want whatever color I want goes into the foreground here. So I'm going to get the mountain. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Okay, so I got the mountain color like that. All right, so how to do this? We could use I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool and just kind of go like this and kind of cover over it. I don't think it'll, I don't want to have any like sharp corners or anything there. Okay, you could also use the regular lasso tool. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go edit fill and fill it with that dark color, foreground color. And make it a little bit purpler, a little bit darker. Okay, then let's see, then and then select, deselect. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to hit Control T. I think I want it to totally cover the foreground. Oops. In this case, I'm going to hold Shift down. Control T. I just want to scale up the top a little bit, so it's a little bit of it I didn't quite cover there. All right. So let's make a new layer and clip it. We'll use the layer below as a clipping mask. And I don't know about you guys, But I always find this configuration of the way they do it um, in the layer palette, even though I've been doing it forever, I guess I don't use clipping masks that often or something. But so if I go create clip, I just right clicked on the new layer I made, right? I clicked on the new layer icon, right click, uh, create clipping mask. Okay, so it's clipped to the layer below it, but I just always feel like the indented thing should be below the layer that's doing the clipping mask. And for some reason, or maybe it's because I'm a little dyslexic or something, but it always seems odd to me. So on this layer, let's just make the tops a little lighter in color because they're more distant. Okay, if that makes sense. The farther away something goes, the more it gets mixed with the atmospheric color. You know, mountains look sort of purplish because there's a lot of water vapor between you and the distant mountains, or bluish sort of. So I'm going to use the mountain color here again. So I'm going to alt click on that, or maybe this dark one here, piece here. And I'm in a soft brush, nice and big, and I'm turning the opacity down to like, I don't know, 10 or 20%. Okay. Wow, looks like it has a hard edge. That's very odd. It must be because I have such a subtle change that it's there's not enough. This is a pretty subtle thing we're doing here. All right. I don't know if you can even see that, but it's just a little lighter on the tops of the mountains. We're going to cover it with something else, so um, it's going to just be sort of showing through. You'll hardly see that. Just give a little variation. Okay, so let's put a foreground image in here and then clip it to the same shape. So let's file open. And what do we have here? I think I'm something with a good foreground. I think the only one here is Moors. So I'm gonna try that. Yeah. So I'm gonna take that, tear it off. You could also select all, edit, copy, edit, paste. I usually just do it this way. Okay, so here's this thing on here. This foreground's nice looking, right? I mean, it will be. So I'm going to right click on it, create clipping mask. So now it's clipped into there. Obviously, we don't want it like this, and we don't want more grass. We're looking for this slope here, right? Because it kind of slopes up to, yeah. All right, and then let's make the clipping mode. Let's try that soft light or hard light again. Oh, sorry, soft light or overlay. Gonna go soft light again. That looks pretty cool. Um, all right. Let's all right, let's save that first of all. Spaceship 2021. Okay. All right, let's make this river here. Okay, turn all this stuff back on again. Oops. So this river here, you can see that it's just, let's see, what do we got? Okay, so it's this shape, right? Just looks like a river going off in the distance, sort of. And then I paste it into it in a clipping mask, the whole scene on the upside down, and some extra darkness on there. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay, so so this would go kind of like, I'm gonna make a new layer, right? And I'm gonna go to the polygonal lasso tool. And I think it's kind of like this. I'm gonna have this background more faded looking, so it should be more distant seeming than that. Okay, so make it, remember, this is a river going off in the distance, so you got to try to be sort of convincing with this shape. And I go select, deselect. Gonna have it going up towards that a little bit. All right. And I'm just gonna let's just fill it with white. Edit fill. Okay, we'll see how it looks. Select, deselect. Okay, I'm going to name my layers here because it's kind of a complicated document. I'm just going to call that river. And all right, so we want to copy the whole thing and put it upside down in the river. So I'm going to turn the river off at the moment. I'm going to go select all, right? And then edit. If I just do copy, okay, I'm actually not on a layer at the moment, but if I do edit copy, it'll copy whatever's on that particular layer inside the selection. But if I do copy merge, it copies everything onto the clipboard, right? And then I'm going to go edit paste. Okay. And now we have this whole thing as one layer, right? And let's go edit, transform, flip vertical. So it's upside down. Okay. And then let's clip it into the river. So right click on it, create clipping mask. Ooh. All right. And if we wanted to, we could, adjust it to make it, look a little more happening or whatever. If you wanted the mountains to be, I don't know if they would really show in truth or not. So just leave it like that or something for the moment anyway. And then let's see, what did I say the other thing was? I think we just have some dark coloring in there. Yeah, because it's too light in the distance, right? We want it to be lost in the gloaming. So I'll make a new layer, right? And get my dark color here. Probably going to use the mountain color again and make sure my opacity is turned pretty far down. Brush is fairly big and soft. And okay, I should doesn't really matter what order you do things in, but just so I can see it, make sure that is create clipping mask on that layer. So you're only painting on the. So it kind of blends into the background, makes it seem a little more realistic. All right, cool. All right, so that's not bad. And let's save that again. So that's our background looking pretty good. We can always tweak it and fiddle with it, of course, because everything's laid out in layers, right? And if you remember what's what, you can go or foreground mask or whatever, you can name things. All right.